Well, good morning again. It's Walter and I in the garage this morning before heading to church. I went to a men's meeting yesterday at our church, and it was a study on conversational sharing your faith and so forth. And today's word comes from Luke 10:37. It's the story of the Good Samaritan, and where the priest and all saw the old man laying on the side of the road, all beat up, and they avoided him. They just walked on the other side, just didn't want to pay attention. It's almost as if they didn't look at it, then they weren't responsible. But it's the story of the Good Samaritan that came and saw him, reached out and bandaged his wound. He even put him on his own donkey and took him to an inn and took care of him. But the verse that stood out to me was Luke 10:37. And Jesus was asking an expert in the law, which of the two did the right thing? And he said the one that had mercy. And Jesus says this, go and do likewise. I guess my observation on this is a couple things. A lot of times, in the Nashville area, and I'm sure across the country, as I'm coming to a stop sign, you've got people sitting on the side of the road selling newspapers or just holding up signs saying, I'm homeless, I need food, asking for money. And sometimes I've caught myself even looking away, or especially if I'm wearing sunglasses, I can pretend I didn't see that person standing on the side of the road. But then there's other times that I do stop and I roll down the window and I'll hand them $1, maybe $2, or maybe even some tickets that Chick-fil-A has given me for a free sandwich, and I'll hand that to them. I guess the real observation, though, if I really dig into it, is he's saying go and do likewise. And he's not talking about the priests and the Levites, but he's talking about the Good Samaritan. And my response to that this morning is, how many times do I find myself too busy, I just don't have time, to reach out and help someone? And that doesn't mean just somebody that's standing on the corner that says they're homeless or that they need help. But what about the person across the street? There was a book, and in that book, in the meeting yesterday, it talked about just going across the street, because there may be some people over there that need what we can offer them. And I'm not talking about going over there and preaching to them. I'm talking over there and just being a friend, just be a neighbor. Someone you might run into at a grocery store or at a gas station while you're pumping gas. If people say, hey, how you doing? My response is better than I deserve. And it's amazing how many times I get that response back. I understand. I am getting better than what I deserve as well. But sometimes I get says, well, just got some issues that I'm dealing with. And that opens up a conversation. And that's when I turn around and ask the Lord just to give me the words that might help them, encourage them. I might not be able to go get them a room, even have time to go buy a meal. But the Word is the bread of life, and I can at least offer them a slice of bread. I don't have to know the entire Scripture. And as I've mentioned, 3 reasons many times that we avoid going across the street is 1, we don't think it's our responsibility. That's the preacher, that's the deacon. 2, we don't think we know enough about the Bible. We can't quote all the Scriptures. And 3, we're just sort of afraid of what they'll think of us, or it's just something that interrupts our busy schedule. Well, I can promise you, if that opportunity comes before you, God will give you that extra time. And it may take you 3 or 4 minutes just to share something about how you came to know the Lord. And I'll guarantee you God will give you some more time later in that day to accomplish more than you could have accomplished if you had just walked away. And if you don't believe that's the truth, just try it today or tomorrow or sometime this week. Just on purpose, stop and give part of your time. Because God gave Jesus, and Jesus gave his life for us. So my dialogue is, Lord and my best friend, help me to keep my eyes open for the ones that's in trouble. And especially for the ones that don't think they're in trouble. But when the opportunity comes, let me do what that verse says and just do it. Just walk across the street. Walk down the aisle of a grocery store. Just reach out and shake someone's hand and ask them, hey, how's it going today? Here's another idea. When you go to a restaurant and you're sitting down to eat and you're getting ready to say the blessing and the waiter comes over, just say, hey, we're getting ready to say a blessing. Is there something we can pray for you? That sounds very little. But I can guarantee you I know hundreds of times, I know especially twice in this past week, that we've done the same thing. And the waitress said, yes, I have something I need you to pray for. And we didn't bother her, but when she came back, she had a little time. And we were able to share with her how Jesus waited on us, where he came to serve, not to be served. So Lord, we'll talk again soon and often, and I'll be listening until we talk face to face. It's your turn. My takeaway is this. Try, I mentioned it before, on purpose, with intentionality, to look and see if maybe our best friend has put somebody across your path that you can share just a slice of bread from the bread of life. You be blessed, and we'll talk again soon.